Hey guys, welcome to the first devlog of the pumping update. So, for starters, this devlog's not going to show everything coming with this update, but I will be showing off the truck-to-truck operations today. So, we're going to take this engine and supply that engine. For right now, I only have all the stuff set up on engine 1 for testing. I'm not sure what all those cars are doing. That minivan's been driving in circles for about 10 minutes. So anyway, these pop-ups are going to be gone once you go into this menu when it's finalized. This is kind of like just debug menus. As I'm developing, I'll be polishing up and making them look pretty. So you have your pump panel. Gives you access to all your discharges, your deck gun, tank fill, tank to pump, and a primer. You can idle the truck up. RPMs of the truck will increase. Each truck can pump a maximum out of 500. This system isn't one-to-one with real life. I kind of put my own spin onto it, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. Anyway, we'll go back down to idle. So we'll go on our connections. We have an intake, your intake. And we'll connect to the hydrant. Charge our hydrant. This will inflate. This code isn't fully set up yet. I'll demonstrate that in a couple minutes. Next up, we go on this truck. You know what? We'll go on the other side. So, depending on which side you go, it'll list all your connections that you currently have. So, we're going to grab our passenger intake. And we're going to connect it to one of the large diameter discharges. Discharge 5. Labels aren't fully set up, but like over here, each connection will be labeled. So, both color coded and labeled. So we connect into 5. So we can go ahead to get water. We're going to open up our tank fill, pull that. So don't know how much we have coming in. I guess it bugged out, but typically I think the maximum I set the hydrants to have is like 750 to 1,000 coming in. You'll see it on there. That gauge won't bug out. So we have water coming in. Now we're gonna go ahead and send water. So I'm gonna open up our pump panel. We'll click on discharge 5, and I'm gonna show this in first person. So the way this works is you can't pump more than what you're throttled up to discharge. That's my spin on it. I'll show you what happens if you do. So go to our pump panel, open discharge 5. You can open it up in segments. It has 10 different increments, so you can kind of gate things down to manage it. So this is all the way open. Whatever you pump this at is how much you're. Now that's all the way open, you're getting full. So if I go ahead and open discharge 4 right now, you'll see it start flashing on what I'm now pumping at. Now to compensate, you would think, oh, let me keep throttling up. No, you're still taking the full amount from discharge 5. So, however, because you idled up and they're getting the same amount, if you're doing this in the game, you're gonna have to kind of gate back. So certain lines are gonna require certain pressures. There'll be a nice little help guide as long with, like, if you click on discharge 1, it's gonna tell you what the line is, how long the line is, and what kind of nozzle they have. For example, 1 3/4 hose. Right now they got we'll say 200 feet out or whatever, and then the nozzle type smoothbore or combination nozzle, and based on that is how much pressure you should give. So the way I'm doing it is there's like I don't think how to describe it. I guess like a There's you have to be in between like a low and a max with ideal pressure. So the ideal pressure for this is, let's say, 130 psi, or 130, how much you print out. Yep. You can be like 50 above or 50 below. I don't know the full. I haven't set up all the numbers yet completely, or at all really. So, but anyway, back to what I was getting at. So as this goes up, you may be putting too much pressure on, let's say, discharge 5 now as we're idling up. You may have to gate that back. If you're pumping to a hand line, it's going to cause either the players to not get enough water or too much water, to where they can't move because there's too much pressure on the line. So you have to keep that in mind. But the ideal pressure, if you click on easy mode, everything will be kind of labeled out for you when that comes. So we're going to continue giving this truck water. So close that. Go up to 200. All right. So as you can see, that line did inflate. We can actually see it here. You're watching to the right of the screen. Start 5. Deflate, yeah. So, let you know you got water coming through. So next up, in order to get water through an intake, you're going to have to open up your tank fill. Be mindful that you will lose water if you're full and your tank fill's still open and you still got water coming through. So if you're not connected to the hydrant, your second engine's supplying you, they're going to just be wasting water. So you're going to have to keep an eye on your pump a lot. Something I'm also going to do, if you pump a line way over whatever it's supposed to be at, the line will burst and the players will just lose their line. They'll have to come back and you'll be back to square one with those lines. With the pump overheating thing, so let me open my tank fill. As you see, we have 200 coming in now because that truck's putting out 200. So we'll go back to the pressure thing too real quick. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place with this. There's just so much to like show. So let me open discharge 2. All right. So when you're in this state where you're pumping, you'll have buzzers and stuff going off. No matter what your RPM's at, your truck's just gonna hit max RPM. It's gonna be screaming buzzers. There'll be a heat gauge that'll be going up. You'll have a water cooler that could temporarily buy you more time till you get all your connections figured out. In real life, when you have issues like this, it's not ideal to just shut down whatever lines you have. So you can role play it as real or as fake as you want, but if your tank's about to completely overheat, you could just close the line. However, your people are going to be losing water inside or wherever that water is going to you get things kind of figured out. The best way to transfer pressure in the game would be to go in increments. So you go up maybe like 40 or 50. Then I would gate this back like 200. So now I have an extra 250. And discharge 2, I can kind of get everything set up and keep going up. Now we're at 310. You can gate this back a little bit further. Until we get like around our ideal pressure. So personally, I think it's a fun little mini game to balance things out. And why this looks simple when you have 5 lines off and trying to keep track of what's going where. It's gonna be a little bit messy. So, but I'm gonna make it easier by at least saying what's connected, what's not connected. This will be your full UI. This isn't finalized, obviously. Like, this is all kind of just for testing. Something else is, once again, whatever your line's gated at, that's the percentage of pressure you're going to get from your maximum. So I do have an idle button. You can click it and drop it back down to idle. push this. We'll close that too. So, let me show you guys losing the pressure or wasting water. So we're gonna close our tank fill. So now we're not getting any water from the hydrant. We're gonna open up discharge 5, which the other truck is connected to. We're gonna bump up our pressure. I'm just gonna give them water. So as you can see, this intake opened up or shows 500 because that's how much we're moving on this. And now we just completely drained our pump when they already had water full. I'm gonna add some effects, so like real life, when the truck's overflowing, you'll see the water coming out from underneath of it. Once again, this is not here to mimic real life. I wanted to put a nice video game spin on it. But there are going to be ways to fail. Next dev blog, I will probably show off drafting, as it's changing too. It's turning into its own little mini game. There'll be a full guide. So on this menu, like the EMS has, you'll click on it and it'll have like a card of kind of like your steps to take. So when you stop, make sure the truck's in park. You'll flip it over into pump gear. On this menu too, you'll have a little like ready to pump, okay to pump kind of thing. So right from the get-go, you'll know that you missed steps right away, like with like a checklist. So after that, you would open up your tank to pump, which this isn't fully set up yet, or actually isn't set up at all. So it'll just be like the tank fill. It's either all the way open or all the way closed. I may also make it so you can gate the tank fill as well with how much water you're bringing in. Which is going to be another thing in itself, because I'm going to be updating it. So whatever you're bringing in gets also dumped on your lines. So if I'm pumping him at 500 and you have a hand line open, let's say, let's say you have a hand line discharge once all the way open, you would get your throttle plus whatever you got coming in. So you could boost this pressure if you're not getting enough. You're going to be using more water than you're bringing in, which is typically a no-no in real life. But so if you're pumping out 100, you're going to be putting 600 on this line. So you'd be able to gate the line back and gate your tank fill back to kind of what you need to for a nice happy medium. So things might also change. I might add more aspects to it in the future. Once again, this devlog isn't covering the whole update either. There's a lot more. This is probably like 25% of the update, if that. So next up, we'll go over hairlines. So we'll go off the rear. We have a 3 and 4. You can choose 1 3/4 or 2.5 for right now, and a combination of the smoothbore nozzle. They're both going to have their advantages and disadvantages. So typically, big fire, big water. If you go with a 2.5-inch line, you're gonna be using more water, putting out more fire. And with a smoothbore as well, you'll be able to have it so it penetrates fire. So you can hit more in a room. Where with a combination nozzle, its advantages is it has fog pattern, and then the straight stream would just hit the first fire. Like you'll be putting out each fire like as it currently is in game now. You're gonna have decreased mobility, the 2.5. But I'll go into that even further in the next blog with these. So after we choose, you just click on your discharge. Nice smooth bore. Then I didn't look at what connection I pulled. Yes, I didn't set this one up. Like I said, this is kind of like in the testing stages, development stages, so a lot of stuff isn't set up yet. Discharge 3. Connection, oh, pump panel. Discharge 3. You can see a line inflated now. So that's pretty much what I wanted to show off today. Some other things that I want to say are changing is with the ladder pipes and the deck guns and stuff like that. You're no longer going to be activating them as you do now, where you're kind of like in control of it. And then it would pretty much be activated by pulling the deluge handle. So as soon as you charge that, water comes shooting out of that, and then you can take control of that and set it up how you want. So you guys have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave them below. I'm not taking suggestions quite yet with the pumping update because I didn't even show off. I barely scratched the surface of it. But I might do another dev blog by the end of the week. So it's Friday. Or early next week. So if I do another dev blog, it'll be tomorrow. But if not, it'll be probably like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday next week. Alright guys, have a good day.